It is the day after Eastern Christmas in Georgia. They call it Shova. And the party just continues. You can hear the sound from quite a ways away. It's about maybe a little less than a kilometer away from me. What has been set up in the Rose Revolution Square, or Republic Square as it's called sometimes. And it's just big singing and a party, and it's been going on since the 25th of December, which is Christmas. That's when they started this. And it's now the 8th of January. And it will probably go on for a little less than another week for Orthodox New Year's. That's my guess. Or else it will finally die out. Hi, this is Byrne for Georgian Crossroads, and you may be wondering what I'm doing. I'm sitting in my window. Outside you may see some, let's call them New Year's lights. And if you're paying attention, you may hear a lot of noise outside. People singing. Well, not singing, but loud music playing. I don't know if you do or not. I hear it. I've been hearing it. It's now January 11th, and I've been hearing it straight since December 25th. What I want to talk to you tonight about is my biggest culture shock in Georgia. Now, a lot of people think culture shock is what happens when you show up in a country and they do things differently than you. Well, there's a little aspect of that, but that's not really culture shock. Real culture shock is what happens after you've been in a country for quite a while, and suddenly you realize, oh my goodness, I just miss the stuff back at home. I miss all the things the way we used to do them, the rhythms of life. And my biggest culture shock in Georgia, this is actually the third New Year's and Christmas season I've been through. And this one finally just, all of my preconceptions about Christmas that I have grown up with, I'm 64 years old, so it's been the last three, we'll say 62 years worth of assumptions about what Christmas is have been, I wouldn't say thrown out the door, but I suddenly realized, oh, jeepers, I am not in America. I am not in Western Europe. I'm in Georgia. Christmas celebrations in Georgia and New Year's are completely different than Christmas celebrations in either Western Europe or America or a lot of the other Anglophone countries and other places where they celebrate Christmas in kind of the manner of Western Europe. I am used to a certain rhythm of life. That rhythm goes like this. The rhythm of the seasons. It goes like this. You have Thanksgiving. Now, obviously, in other countries, they don't have Thanksgiving. This is a very American thing. But we have Thanksgiving about a month before Christmas. It's the last Thursday of November every year. And you usually have a big meal. It's often turkey. I sometimes had a goose. But that's a time where you get people to come to your house, and it's a celebration of families and togetherness. People do it all a little different, but most Americans will have this big celebration. And one of the big problems associated with that is everyone leaving on a plane to go back and forth to wherever they are. It's hard for Georgians to understand this because Georgians all know where their families are and they're not very far away from them. Where in America, you could have been born in California, but then later you lived in New York City and you had to go back to California for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But anyway, the day after Thanksgiving is what was called Black Friday. And Black Friday was always considered the biggest shopping day of the year. That's when supposedly the retail merchants used to put their items on sale that they would prepare to make money for the Christmas season. They have Black Friday here in Georgia. It's not widely celebrated, but enough that you see signs that say Black Friday when you walk into some of the malls and such here, which is very strange because they don't have a Thanksgiving. So, and Black Friday has spread around the world in many ways, and I don't understand why. It's just now a commercial event. While there's a Black Friday here, it doesn't really feel like Christmas. They start hanging lights in the beginning of December on the streets, and I'll show you here what some of the lights of Tbilisi look like. I wouldn't call them Christmas lights. I'd more call them New Year's lights, because one of the things, because Georgia is an Orthodox Christian country, Orthodox people do not have Christmas trees. I mean, Georgians have Christmas trees, but they don't put angels on them. They don't make them look like Christian symbols. They keep these New Year things and Christmas very separate from each other, which on one hand sounds like it would be great, if they keep it away. But, okay, so anyway, the rhythm in Western Europe and America goes something like this. So you have a period of time in which you're kind of building up to Christmas. Christmas is the most important holiday. And Christmas, there's, Germany, France, England, America, and I'm sure Australia, New Zealand, Czech Republic, Poland, all have different traditions building up to that. But it often involves eating sweet cookies, inviting people over for dinners, work parties, office parties, things like this. And as you get closer, now, and I know in Germanic countries, they have, I think it's December 6th is like St. Nicholas Day. And then like Austria goes kind of nuts with Krampus right before that. And St. Nicholas is supposed to defeat Krampus. That's a bit different than say, America. But, although I find Krampus is spreading. But nevertheless, the very strange thing is this. We go up to this point, and then you get to Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Now, what's supposed to happen is everyone's supposed to be with their families on Christmas Day. And Christmas Eve, too. So you don't have carnival-like parties. I mean, there may be some places in Latin America where they do, but generally, it's a quieter occasion. You'll often hear beautiful choirs singing Christmas carols, people, everything kind of moves towards this. Now, it's been very commercialized, obviously, but still, you are supposed to go a certain way. And then, like, when I lived in New York City, Christmas Eve was the quietest night of the year. If you wanted to go to a Broadway play, go on Christmas Eve, because most people are going to be at home for Christmas, and so they're not going to be at the play, and there will be extra seats. At some point, the movie manufacturers of America, the movie industry, I've got a cat here, just walked in. It's a feral cat. You have to leave. I call him. This is Mego. Means Megoberry, which is Georgian for friend, but he wants in. I got to say goodbye to Mego. He's wanting food. I don't let him into the house because he's a feral cat. But anyway, but he is very friendly. That's why I call him Megoberry, my Georgian friend cat. That's something you don't have. Sometime I'm going to do a Georgian Crossroads about cats, because it's really bizarre, the whole cat scene here. And he's just one of many that hang around my house. I don't see many, well, there is a mouse in the house, but I don't see many rats and such on the streets. And I haven't seen the mouse in the house lately. Have you done your job? I hope so. Anyway, where were we? Mago decided to make his appearance. I've got names for all the cats, but sometime I'll do that. But anyway, so Christmas is super quiet, and Christmas Day is kind of a day that's like you're eating, but it's not like fireworks. We save that for New Year's Eve. And now they do traditional New Year's Eve here as well. And if you've seen my video on it, here's a little taste of it. And Happy New Year. Welcome 2020 in Tbilisi, Georgia. Now everyone's going, I mean, I thought they were crazy before, but now it's, I have no words. Absolutely, they go crazy with fireworks on New Year's Eve. So far, so good. Now, here's where things get really different. First, let me finish the Western and American saga. So all through the month of December, you are hearing Christmas carols and bad commercial Christmas music and versions of Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree and Holly Jolly Christmas and all this stuff. But come Christmas Day, it pretty much dies away. And by New Year's, absolutely. Nobody wants to hear one speck of Christmas music after New Year's. And in fact, traditionally, people would take their trees down on New Year's. So that's the American thing. And then starts hardcore winter after the first of the year. And that's the way it was in New York. That's the way it was in Alaska. I don't know how it is, say, in Georgia, the American Georgia, or Texas, but that's how it was there. So, this is the rhythm here. First of all, you have to understand, because it's a Georgian Orthodox country, the Orthodox Church still celebrates Christmas according to I believe it's the Julian calendar, and I think we're on the Gregorian calendar. I'm going to look that up just to make sure. But the point is this. They celebrate Christmas, or what they call Shoba, on January 7th. On Christmas Day, they also have the Lilo Procession. Lilo means hallelujah in Georgian. And this is a very interesting religious procession where people often dress up in traditional clothing and march. Usually a few thousand people take place in the march, but it seems like the whole city eventually comes out to watch the procession. The photos you're looking at now were taken during the Christmas celebrations at the beginning of 2018. I didn't go last year, and I wanted to go this year, and then I was caught by another culture shock, and that is when you want to find the times for things in Georgia. Like, let's say you want to go to an Orthodox church. What time should you go? Good luck. That's all I can tell you. I was told different things at different times. Do people all arrive at church at the same time? No. Do they leave at the same time? No. So what time was the Lilo procession this year? I was trying to remember what it was last year. Was it at noon? Was it at 11? Was it at 1? I was thinking it was like at 1, and then I heard a bunch of noise down below, so maybe it was really at 11, or maybe it was 12. Anyway, I missed it this year. I didn't feel like rushing down there. But that's also part of the culture shock here. Very interesting religious procession. When does it start? Who knows? And that's always on the 7th of January. And New Year's is exactly, Orthodox New Year's is exactly 1 week after that. However, when they blow off all the fireworks, they blow them off on New Year's. Now, they don't really start about the 15th or so of December. You get, this year what we have is a huge meeting where they turned on the lights, and the the richest man in the country, Bidzina Ivanishvili, gave this talk, and it was just like wall-to-wall people. I literally could not move through the crowd. It was so intense. I finally had to escape through this one mall and go through the back to walk home. But basically, they waited until Western Christmas, the 25th, to start. Now, what they did was, meanwhile, all the lights are up. They put on they have this huge, like, carnivalesque, with, kids' rides and a big pavilion. And they had 2 or 3 pavilions right down here in Republic Square. Now, I am probably about a little less than a kilometer away from Republic Square. And it was loud. It was so loud that I'm going to play you a little bit of footage that I took on Christmas Eve here, Western Christmas Eve. And they're testing out the microphones for the sound system. And it's so loud, I'm about, about a block away from the sound system. And the sound on my film is just absolutely distorted, like just blown. It was that loud. So loud that on New Year's Eve, when they had this, like rave down here that went until 2 o'clock in the morning, I remember it's just like, oh, there's Donna Summer's I Feel Love, kind of a techno version where people are adding a few things to it. It was crazy. So, here's the thing. So this thing started on December 25th. That's when they had a ceremony, the tree was lit, and then it went until New Year's, and on New Year's, it was just insanely loud. And every night, this is now January 11th, every night, here's where I had my culture shock. So Christmas Eve came, and I walked down. I thought I would take a walk, just, like one of these, their Christmas Eve, Shova, the eve before Shova. I thought I would take a walk down the street, and it would be kind of like in New York City, where you'd walk on Christmas Eve, and it would be kind of quiet. Interesting time to reflect on things. Oh no, it was like a carnival. People were everywhere on the streets. And this thing was playing music. Georgia's kind of swamped in techno, electronic dance music. Just playing it on and on and on. Every night. It's been on and on and on. If you start doing the math, the next week, I think, what is it? About the 14th or so is the New Year's, the Orthodox New Year's, and there'll be more fireworks blown off. So that's like basically almost a month. It's like 3 solid weeks where they've set up this kind of pavilion down here and have people playing every night. And it drives me insane. It's like, to me, it's like, well, hey, it's winter, guys. Just take it indoors, But no, there's still people on the street. It's like, everyone's like, yeah, we're dancing. And I'm like, oh my goodness, give me a break. Now, here's the interesting thing. What the Georgians do for Shova, for Christmas Eve, is they spend from like midnight or 11 o'clock or midnight until about 4 or 5 in the morning in church. Now, that's the religious people. Not everybody's that religious here. But enough of them that it's something that goes on. Now, so I've been having this moment where it's just like, look, you're used to this whole rhythm for all your life of the way Christmas and New Year's goes. And see, in America, it goes like this. It goes up, it's kind of a frantic time where everyone's buying things for people. Then it stops. Everything stops for Christmas. It gets quiet in a sense. And then it kind of builds up again to New Year's, and then it's over. Period. End of story. That's it. And here, it never ends. I mean, literally, I was in a big grocery store today in a brand new mall, which, don't get me talking about the malls here. And it's January 11th. It's well past their Christmas here, and I'm hearing Silent Night coming from the in-store radio. And I'm going like, oh, please deliver me. It's like there was no Silent Night here. It never got quiet. But this is what culture shock does. Does it mean I dislike Georgia? Oh, no. And in fact, one of the best things that happened during this period was that I had a chance to go over and have New Year's Day dinner with my friends, the Kaftaradzes, and that was really nice, and I spent time with some people. We had great conversations. I mean, the kind of conversations where Tarkovsky was like a feature of the great Russian filmmaker, Andrei Tarkovsky, was a great feature of the conversation. Wish I could do that in America. Can't really do that on Christmas in America. So that was a big plus. So, but the last two Christmas seasons, I was more on the outside. This time I'm getting closer to being inside of it, but I'm like, jeepers, what's going on? I don't understand. This is just totally foreign to me. And that's what culture shock is. Culture shock, it's happened to me in France. It would happen to you in any country you spent a while in. It's not that first stuff where you go like, oh, how quaint, they do these things. It's later when you realize they really don't do X, the thing you expect, the thing that makes life. I mean, Christmas for me was always one of the most important days of the year. And now I'm trying to figure out how to go through this thing. I don't stay up all night on Christmas with the Georgian Orthodox. I still don't understand why. So I'm waiting to understand. Anyway, I don't mean to get upset with the Georgians. And although I am kind of a little bit wondering why this thing is going on so long this year. It doesn't have to. It didn't last year. Last year, they had it all cleaned up by the time of Shova, of Eastern Christmas, and it was gone. And this year, they've just let it drone on and on. I think they're probably going to let it go on till Georgian New Year's. Who knows? Maybe it'll stop at the end of this weekend. I don't know. I hope. Anyway, can't say good things all the time. Sometimes you have to say, I don't understand. And this is one of those times. So this is Byrne at Georgian Crossroads saying, Gilisaf Achal Tzelis. That's Happy New Year's. And Gilisaf Shobas. That's Happy Christmas. And I know that you, whoever you are going to be watching this probably in mid-January, and you're going to be saying like, well, Byrne, we're done with this stuff. Why are you wishing us this? Because I can't escape. So I might as well pass it on to you. From Georgia, Droebit, we'll see you later.